A large Russian missile and drone attack has left parts of Ukraine's capital without power. 20 people were rescued after an apartment building in Kyiv was hit in the strike, with several treated in the hospital. The attack has also caused blackouts as well as disrupting the water supply. Russian forces have been targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure as well as civilian areas over the past few weeks. DW correspondent Karolina Chimoy is reporting from Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, and joins us now. Karolina, another night of devastating attacks. What can you tell us about the damage?
Yes, Sarah, another long night of attacks here in Kyiv. Just to give you an example, we're standing just in front of a building that was hit yesterday at night by a Shahed drone. So what happens is when a Shahed drone hits its target, a building like this one, many parts, it's being broken apart in many parts like this one's. And this, of course, can kill people and cause this kind of distraction. And what happened yesterday night is that Russia launched around 450 Shahed drones like this one and over 30 missiles. Now, most of them were intercepted by the Ukrainian military, but a lot did hit several cities and also infrastructure. We know that at least 20 people are injured in Ukraine. There are more and more coming in the next hours. And a 7-year-old child was killed in Zaporizhia, also hit by a Shahed drone.
Karolina, what is the situation now?
Well, also critical infrastructure like power plants were hit. Right now, many cities, like for example Kyiv, do not have electricity or running water. And that is, of course, causing a really bad situation, a critical situation for people living here. But it's also being understood, Sarah, as a warning of what could happen in the next months. Right now it's autumn, it's not that cold, but in the winter months it can get as cold as minus 20 degrees. And that could cause, of course, a huge damage in every people's lives, in everyday life. For example, in 2023, when different power plants were also hit in Ukraine, and people remember that vividly here in Kyiv, they did not have electricity or warm water for around 3 months. And imagine just a city without traffic lights during the night or street lights. It was a critical situation, and people are already getting ready for perhaps a similar winter. They are buying power plants or gas stoves to be able to at least cook some water. One of the worst times in 2023 could be repeated this winter if the attacks are as massive as they have been in the last weeks and months.
And Russia, I mean, we know that it's been stepping up this aerial campaign against critical infrastructure as winter approaches. We see more and more missiles and drones getting through Ukraine's defenses. What is this meaning for people living in the capital and also elsewhere?
It could mean that they won't have any heating during the winter months. They are, as I was saying, getting prepared for this possible situation because this is being understood as a warning. They hit yesterday a power plant. Same thing happened a couple of weeks ago, but it's not as cold right now. So people are getting prepared for a possible very cold winter without heating, without electricity, without warm water.
Karolina, tell us a little bit more about the efforts of Ukraine's allies to support it in its defenses and where that stands.
Ukraine and its government is still driving the attention to what is happening here. There are a lot of things going on around the world, Sarah. You know this better than me, but Ukraine is worried that especially the European Western countries that have been visualizing the drones in different airports, like in Denmark, also in Munich last week in Germany, will start focusing on their own defense. They are afraid that they might forget about the huge support that Ukraine needs right now for their own defense, for the war that they're having here for over 3 years already. So the Ukrainian government is still trying to drive the attention into this part of Europe.
DW's Karolina Chimoy in Kyiv. Thank you. And for more, we are joined by politician Lesia Vasilenko, a member of the Ukrainian parliament of the Holos Party in the opposition. Thank you so much for joining us. How did you experience last night's attacks?
Good morning, or it's not that good a morning here in Kiev. We have experienced yet another sleepless night with a lot of the people of Kiev and other cities for that matter, spending them in basements, underground parking lots and metro stations. In fact, the metro is still not working because we have a major blackout across the city, and there is currently a transport collapse on the streets of Kiev. With many buildings that have also been left without power supply, without heating, and without water supply. That includes, by the way, the building of the Parliament of Ukraine, which is also left without water, but electricity has been resumed. It's been a very difficult night. Explosions, the sounds of drones outside the window, all of that is the usual when Russia carries out a massive combined attack, and this was exactly that through the night. This night, it was over 450 Russian drones that were launched at Ukraine, as well as over 30 missiles. Our air defense forces were able to shoot down half of the missiles and the majority of the drones, which means that there were hits of civilian infrastructure. As I mentioned, there are blackouts. Today, Kyiv is covered in the sound of power generators, which also give off a terrible gas smell, which means that there is, in addition to the pollution coming from the explosions and from the burning, there's also that air pollution coming from the power generators, which are a life source at the moment for the city to continue to function properly.
And we know that Russia has been stepping up its aerial campaign against critical infrastructure as winter approaches. What has that meant for people living in the capital as well?
It's not just the capital, as I mentioned, it's cities all over Ukraine. So eastern Ukrainian cities like Zaporizhia, Dnipro, they have been heavily attacked and damaged this night. But this is one of many nights yet to come. The forecasts are such that there will be specific targeting of Ukraine's energy infrastructure, meaning that there will be power cuts, blackouts through this winter. Our engineering teams, they are, of course, already prepped up after 4 years of such attacks to quickly fix the problems on the grids, but it doesn't help the situation for hours on end. Sometimes several days, people will be stuck without operating electricity, and winters here are as cold, maybe even colder than in Germany. And this will also mean that we will be left without heat, because right now Russia is also targeting the gas facilities and the gas infrastructure in Ukraine.
What is your message to Ukraine's partners this morning?
To step up and to do what is right. And the right thing is to support Ukraine and to give Ukraine the necessary tools to do a proper pushback on Russia. This is message number one. Message number two is to introduce legislation which will allow for the control of the export of dual-use products, components which are used by Russia and bought directly from Western companies, German companies, British companies, Swiss companies, Austrian companies, to build up their military sector. The only reason why Russia is able to launch these mass attacks on Ukraine is because they are scaling up the production of their military. And Ukraine is not, and Europe is not. Or if they are, they're doing this extremely slowly. And Russia is allowed to do that because the components are coming from Western companies. This is exactly something that can be done by governments and parliaments across Europe, by changing the legislation to have more rigorous rules about the sale and the export of dual-use components and products which are being used in modern warfare. And modern warfare is the drone warfare, which is being widely used here on the ground in Ukraine, and with attacks coming from Russia.
Lesia Vasilenko, Ukrainian MP for the Holos Party in the opposition, joining us from Kyiv. Thank you so much.
Thank you.